Alright, this is going to be a video tutorial on how to use Excel, especially for this lab. In the first two columns you'll see I've included the information that you got from the spectrophotometer, just time and absorbance. If you also see down here in row 16, you'll see that I have the epsilon value. It's a made-up epsilon value, so don't use mine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to enter in a function to Excel and how to look up different information and to insert a graph. Also at the end I'm going to show you a little bit more of an advanced portion, so if you want to get more information out of your slope and intercept, there's a way to do it. So I'm going to label my columns at the moment. Okay, this is kind of some of the things that we'll be finding. Now, if you notice, if you didn't use this, you'll have to calculate it all by hand. It's not as much, none of it's fun, but it's not as easy to do. This is going to be very, very convenient for you. You can do this very, very quick. There are two ways to enter in a function. The first method, and the most important part of Excel, is going to be the function toolbar. If you see here, you can insert a function by clicking on this button, and it brings up a pop-up window. Now, if you do not know exactly what type of function it is you're wanting to look for, you can type a brief description of it, like let's say I want to type in average. It will bring up different things to do with average. Or you can select a category here. You got financial, statistical, math and trig, and other things. That's one method. The other method, which is for very simple functions, typically they're pretty common. You start off in the cell, you click it, and you have to start out with equals. Now it's set up to design a function. Now what I want to do is, by using Beer's law to find out the concentration, it's just absorbance over the epsilon value. So if you click on the absorbance, the cell, you see it highlights B2 over 2000. 2000 is a constant. That's why I manually entered 2000. If you had different epsilon values, you could have another row for epsilon values, but epsilon value is not going to change, so we want to keep epsilon value constant throughout our function. You click enter and it gives you your concentration. Now by highlighting the cell, you see this black box down here? With the black box, if you move your cursor over it, your cursor becomes a crosshair. By clicking the corner, you can drag down, and you can drag down the formula to the cells below. If you notice, in C2, my equation is B2 over 2000. So I expect C3 to be B3 over 2000, and that's what it is. That way I copy the same function all the way down. You can do the same thing for the ln, equals ln, and you'll need parentheses, ln of the concentration, and close your parentheses, and again drag down. You don't only have to drag down, you can also copy the cell and paste it. It'll paste the same function below. Now if you are doing a spreadsheet and you want to only copy and paste the value, not the function, you'll have to paste it special by clicking the paste button over here and manually click paste value. Excel automatically assumes that you want to paste the formula. That's what it's designed to do. So now that we have our calculation set up, I'll show you real quick how to graph. There are two ways to graph. I'll show you the easy way second. I'm going to show you more of the tedious manual way first. It's whatever your preference is. To find the graphs, you need to go up to the toolbar, or up to your main toolbar under the Insert tab, and you have your charts here. You won't very commonly use a pie chart or a column or a bar graph. I know some of you like to use a line graph. We will not use a line graph. What you want to do is use a scatter plot. It just plots your values, because you may be plotting something that you don't necessarily know how it's going to look, so you want to look at the raw data on a graph. By clicking this, you'll want to just paste the scatter. You don't no need to connect the dots. There's no point. Now if you notice, this gives us a blank chart. What you have to do now is right click, select data. There is a button here to click add to add a series. You can add multiple series to one chart if you want to overlay multiple data, different data. So by clicking add. Now you can give your series a name. This is not it's optional, it's not required. So it wants your series X values. These are going to be your X-axis numbers. You click the button here, you go over to your X-axis, which I want to be as time, and you click and drag down. You do the same thing for your Y values. So for my graph I'm going to do time and concentration, and click OK. Now we have our lovely chart. Now remember, don't forget to include your axis labels in a chart title. To do this, you can go up to the chart layouts and design whichever one you like the most, whichever one is looks the best and is most representative of the graph that you want. Typically the very first option here is the best option. It's very simple, gives you the axis titles. You can go in and change the axis titles and the chart title. The second way, I'm going to delete this graph, is if you have your values in the left column, the left column set it up to be your x-axis. Your y values, your y-axis can be set up in the right column. If you click and highlight, and I'm going to click and highlight, this is my left column, this is my right column, so this will be my y values. You go to insert and click scatter. It will set it up just the same way. Now remember, for the bleach experiment that you want to find the initial rates. But to find the initial rates, it wants you to plot a tangent line which through the linear portion of the graph, which, if you can see, you have a pretty linear portion here. By clicking, you can actually see that this is kind of where I see it end. This is like the last linear point. This is at 25 seconds. So what you can do is you can go back over to your highlighted values over here and actually pull this up to get the linear portion. You can also you know that you gotta go down to 25 seconds. Just make another graph, and you'll wind up having to do this because I need both graphs, right? So now we have both graphs. Now it asks you for the initial rate. To find the initial rate, you need to actually get the slope of the line. So we need to have it put in a trend line. If you right click on the values, it brings up a pop-up menu, and you click add trend line. It gives another pop-up menu that I'm going to show you. You already have your trend line here, and it's linear. We're only doing linear trend lines in this class. And you're going to want to display the equation on the chart. This will give you your slope and intercept. Also, it's not a bad idea to get into the habit of displaying your r-squared value. Your r-squared value is a value that tells you how close your linear line is, how linear it is. If it's a perfect linear regression, then you'll have an r-squared value of 1. Below 1 tells you how good it is. So if you have an r-squared value of 0.99, you have a pretty close to perfect linear line. If you see minus 0.948, roughly 0.95, so that's not a bad r-squared value. Anything, you typically want it between 0.95 and 1. Anything below 0.9 is really not a good trend line. So if you close the chart, now you have your y equals mx plus b with your r-squared value. Now I'm going to show you a little bit more of an advanced portion. It's very, very useful. Now if you see, this only gives us one significant figure, which may or may not be useful. What if you want to find out more about your slope and intercept? What you can do is, I will go ahead and name the cells here, slope, intercept. What we can get is we can actually get the average slope, the standard deviation for the slope, and the r squared value. So if you notice, we got a 2 by 3 cell. So I'll highlight it and I'll click my function toolbar. Now you see I use line ST quite a bit, but if not, you can always type it in and see here it is here. So I click OK. Now it's asking for your Y values, so you click and you highlight your Y values. Now remember, we're only going down to 25 seconds, so I only want down to here. For my X values, I'll do the same thing. Now it's asking for your constant and your stats. For both of these, you type in true, T-R-U-E. Okay? Now look, it gives us a number. If you notice, this number should be, this is just going to be a rounded up number of what this gives you. This is going to take it out to more significant figures. Now, see how the box is highlighted? If it's not highlighted, then highlight these cells. You're going to want to click into the top at the function toolbar. You click. Now you press Control and Shift at the same time, and you click Enter. If you do not click up into the toolbar, it does not give you those values, and it's very, very frustrating. You have to click into the toolbar for it to work. Now if you see, you've got all these values. Your slope and your intercept, your standard deviation for both, and your r-squared value. Alright. I think that'll be all that you really need to know. If you want me to show you demos on how to do other things, like Excel, PowerPoint, anything of that sort, just let me know. I can certainly do this and post it up on Blackboard so you guys will have a little bit better information going into it.